Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your most intriguing sources and, well, really dig into them to unearth those golden nuggets of knowledge and insight.
That's the goal.
Today, we're diving into something pretty unique. Excerpts from The Key to Midnight. It's this gripping narrative. Reads almost like a case study, really. Human psychology, international spying, the very nature of identity itself.
Yeah, think of it like a super detailed report on some extraordinary events and the people caught right in the middle of them.
Exactly.
So our mission today is to move beyond just the plot. We want to distill the core knowledge from this rich source material.
Connect the dots, right, between what one person goes through and the bigger sort of global picture.
Precisely. And hopefully you'll walk away not just knowing a thrilling story, but with maybe a deeper grasp on memory, manipulation, and, the resilience of the human spirit. It's quite something.
It really is. Our main source here is this incredible work, The Key to Midnight, originally written under the name Leigh Nichols, but later revised, reissued by Dean Koontz himself.
And we even have this fascinating notes from Koontz. He talks about his own obsessive-compulsive nature, his really rigorous revision process for this text.
Which adds another layer, doesn't it? It kind of highlights how carefully, how meticulously these facts, as presented in the story, were put together.
Absolutely. So we're going to try and uncover some hidden truths about a woman, a man, and a conspiracy that, well, it spans continents and decades.
Okay, let's get into it.
So our journey into this intricate world really starts with Joanna Rand. She's living in Kyoto, Japan, owns and sings at this stylish place, the Moonglow Lounge.
Right, a place she sees as a kind of peculiar sanctuary, sort of shielding her from the outside world.
Yeah, and on the surface, she's the picture of self-reliance, values self-control, wants to be the dominant one in relationships. But underneath all that...
yes. Underneath, she's plagued by this terrifying, recurring nightmare.
That's where the profile gets really interesting, psychologically speaking. It does. Because these aren't just bad dreams. They're acute nightmares. There's a man with a mechanical hand, a needle, and they cause her real physical illness, profound emotional distress.
So her outward strength, it's hiding something deep.
Exactly. She even admits to her assistant, Mariko, that she has this destructive urge to sabotage any relationship that starts getting serious.
Why? What's the fear?
She's terrified that intimacy will somehow uncover her past, which she herself doesn't fully grasp. It triggers intense paranoia, claustrophobia even, when emotional connection gets too close. It's a powerful defense mechanism.
And Kyoto itself, you mentioned the city, it almost feels like another character.
Does, doesn't it? This 1,000-year-old city described as a hodgepodge of neon signs and ancient temples.
It gives Joanna this weird sense of humanity's permanence and purpose, but it's also constantly changing, modern.
That juxtaposition, ancient versus modern anxiety.
Yeah.
It's not just background. It really mirrors her own internal conflict, In the Moonglow Lounge, her sanctuary is like her own little bubble against whatever reality is trying to creep in.
Okay, so that sets the scene for Joanna.
Yeah.
And then the landscape shifts.
Yeah.
We meet Alex Hunter.
Right. Alex Hunter, a private investigator from Chicago. Formidable is a good word for him.
He's had a rough past, traumatic childhood, alcoholic parents, abuse, forged this intense skepticism about people connecting.
Entirely self-made. Yeah. Values independence, dignity above all else. He even finds sleep a detestable form of slavery. Time, for him, is the real currency.
And love.
Initially. He dismisses it, calls it a poet's conceit. It's not something he believes in.
But it's his cynicism, isn't it, that kind of pulls him into Joanna's world?
It's fascinating, yeah. It's almost paradoxical. His past trauma gave him this relentless drive for control, but also this almost uncanny intuition. He doesn't believe in chance. For him, it's always the visible tip on an iceberg of truth.
So this hardened view, it actually helps him see things others might miss.
Exactly. And the moment he sees Joanna, boom, his intuition just screams at him.
What does it tell him?
That her name, Joanna Rand, isn't real. He's convinced she's someone else, someone he looked for years ago, Lisa Chelgrin.
Wow. Okay, so this is where it starts to unravel.
The big time. He immediately calls his firm back in Chicago, tells them to pull the old Lisa Chelgrin file.
And he tells Joanna this, just lays it out there.
Pretty much. He explains who Lisa was, daughter of a U.S. senator, vanished from Jamaica 12 years back, signs of a struggle, no ransom demand, a perfect crime. One of his firm's few cold cases.
And he thinks Joanna is her.
A dead ringer, he says.
Yeah.
Just 12 years older, carrying a past she has no memory of.
That must have been destabilizing, to say the least.
You think. And as they connect, that carefully built life story Joanna has,
Mm-hmm.
it just starts to crumble.
Her parents, Robert and Elizabeth Rand, dying in Brighton, living in London, the inheritances.
All of it. He starts checking. Calls the supposed solicitor, J. Compton Woolrich. Calls the United British Continental Insurance Association.
Oh.
Nothing. Non-existent.
Or just friends.
Paper trails leading nowhere. It's chilling, really. Shows how thoroughly you can engineer a false identity with just enough superficial proof to get by.
So as her constructed reality falls apart, what happens inside her head? Do memories start coming back?
They start to push through, yeah. It's subtle at first. She sees a man in Nijo Castle, notices he only has one hand.
Like the man in her nightmares.
Exactly. Initially, she thinks, oh, a doppelganger. But then it hits her, no, this feels like a memory, not a dream.
And then there's a panic attack.
A really bad one. The room feels like it's shrinking, walls closing in. Classic claustrophobia treater. And that's when Alex hits her with it.
Hits her with what?
The idea of brainwashing. Post-hypnotic suggestions. He suggests her paranoia, her claustrophobia. They aren't just psychological issues. They might be implanted triggers.
Designed to stop her or anyone else from digging too deep into her past.
Precisely. To protect the false identity.
That's terrifying. That must be the aha moment for her, right?
But maybe not in a good way.
Oh, absolutely pivotal. And terrifying, like you said. She has to grapple with this possibility that her entire life, her sense of self, is just a program, a fabrication.
The emotional fallout must be huge.
Yes.
Yeah.
She feels like, quote, the whole world's against me, out to get me. It really shows the kind of deep psychological damage that happens when your core identity is just ripped away.
So how do they try to get the real memories back?
They bring in help. Dr. Omi Inamura, he's Mariko's uncle and a psychologist.
Okay.
He uses regression therapy, guides her back to this awful place. A room that smells of antiseptics. She's strapped to a bed.
Oh, God.
She remembers details. A woman with brown hair giving her injections. And him, the tall and thin man with a mechanical hand.
The man from her nightmares?
The very same. He inflicted treatments, that's the word she uses. But it sounds like horrific abuse, maybe even sexual abuse, that he did for his own sadistic enjoyment. And how does she access these memories? Is there a key?
There is, and it's fascinatingly specific. It's a jingle. From an old science fiction novel, Alfred Bester's The Demolished Man.
The jingle.
Yeah. Tensor, said the tensor, tension, apprehension, and dissension have begun.
Why that?
Well, Bester's novel, it's about a killer whose mind is literally taken apart, demolished, and then rewired as punishment. The jingle here acts like a key, not just a simple trigger, but something designed to unlock the layers of psychological demolition she went through.
So the brainwashing was incredibly sophisticated, almost literary.
Disturbingly so. It suggests a very deliberate, calculated process of identity erasure and reconstruction.
Okay, so we have Joanna's past trauma starting to surface, but
Yeah.
this feels bigger than just her. What about the senator, her supposed father?
Right, Senator Thomas Chelgrin. Alex had a hunch the senator was involved somehow,
Yeah.
and he was right, but not in the way you might think.
How so?
The Senator Chelgrin everyone knew wasn't the real Thomas Chelgrin.
What then, who was he?
He was Ilya Lyshenko, a Russian deep cover agent, part of this elite Soviet group called the Mirror Group.
What did they do?
Their speciality, replacing key Western figures, meticulously trained agents, extensive plastic surgery, memory suppression, creating perfect doppelgangers.
So Lyshenko replaced the real Chelgrin when?
After the real Chelgrin was captured in Vietnam, they even staged his mother's death as part of the cover. It was a massive long-term intelligence operation.
And this fake Chelgrin built a successful political career.
Hugely successful. Rose through the ranks, aimed for the presidency eventually, far beyond just feeding intel back to Moscow. It shows how effective and, frankly, terrifying these deep cover ops could be, how vulnerable even high-level figures were.
But wait, there's another twist, isn't there, involving the CIA?
Ah, yes. Enter Anson Peterson, CIA agent, described as compulsively neat, addicted to butter rum lifesavers.
Okay. And what does he reveal?
He reveals that the CIA knew. They'd known for years that Chelgrin was actually Lyshenko.
They knew he was a Russian spy, and they
Right.
just let him operate.
Not just let him operate, they used him. Turned him into a double agent without him even knowing it.
Wow.
They fed him information to send back to Moscow. But it was subtly twisted. False data. They orchestrated this masterful charade, as Peterson calls it,
To what end? What was the goal?
to manipulate the Soviets. Encourage reckless military spending based on bad intel, so internal paranoia. Peterson claims this contributed significantly to the eventual fall of the Soviet Union.
Wow. They even apparently encouraged the Soviets to make more use of the Gulag system.
According to Peterson's account in the source, yes. To further destabilize things, he justifies it all the sacrifices of innocent people as necessary for the greater geopolitical goal.
That's a deeply unsettling view of intelligence operations. The moral landscape there is murky, to say the least.
Extremely murky. It just highlights the scale of deception and the calculated risks involved in that Cold War chess game.
Okay, so the conspiracy is massive. Where does the trail lead Joanna and Alex physically?
It leads them to St. Moritz, Switzerland, to a clinic run by Dr. Franz Rotenhausen.
Let me guess.
Yep, the man with the mechanical hand. The architect of Joanna's brainwashing.
Dr. Zombie.
That's what the press called him. Apparently a scientific genius, but obsessed with behavioral engineering. Believed brainwashing could create a utopian society if used by, quote, responsible governments. Lost his hand in an accident, invented his own mechanical replacement. Brilliant, but twisted.
So they confront him.
They confront everyone. Rotenhausen, his sadistic enforcer, Carrera, Peterson from the CIA, and, surprise, Senator Chelgrin. Still alive.
Alive, but Peterson said.
Peterson faked Chelgrin's death in London, deliberately, to push Alex and Joanna, knowing they'd uncover the truth eventually.
That's incredibly manipulative.
That's Peterson. And then
Then?
he decides Chelgrin, dear Tom, is now too big a risk. If he ever became president, the whole charade could blow up. So Peterson orders his actual execution, along with anyone else who knows too much about mere cleaning house.
This is relentless. Through all this chaos, what's happening between Alex and Joanna? You said Alex was skeptical about love?
He was. Deeply skeptical. But seeing what Joanna went through, her trauma, feeling her pain, sharing his own story of childhood abuse for the first time, it changes him.
How so?
It forces him to reevaluate everything. He realizes life meant emotional involvement, and involvement meant taking risks. It dismantles his defenses.
So he finally lets himself feel something.
He confesses he loves her. It's a huge shift from the cynical PI we met at the start. It shows how even in the most extreme situations, that human need for connection can break through.
And their relationship becomes kind of an anchor in the storm.
It really does. They find this connection, this willingness to face their fears together, despite everything being thrown at them. Joanna, after facing the absolute depths, finds this new strength. She even has her first dreamless night in 12 years.
It underlines that idea of resilience, doesn't it? That hope isn't easily destroyed.
Exactly. Hope can be renewed, especially when you're facing the worst and find someone to face it with.
So how does it end? With Rotenhausen?
There's a final confrontation. It's desperate. Joanna ends up killing Rotenhausen.
Self-defense.
They have to make it look that way. They're forced to stage the scene, work out a story with Peterson, believe it or not.
What's the story?
They reveal Chelgrin was Leshchenko, the Russian agent. That part becomes public. But the deeper stuff, the mirror operation, Peterson's role, the CIA manipulation, that stays hidden.
A necessary lie, maybe, for them to survive and finally get free.
It seems that way. A grim choice, but they decide it's their only chance to finally reclaim their lives.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway from this deep dive into The Key to Midnight? What does it mean for us, for you listening?
Well, it's definitely more than just a spy thriller, isn't it? It's this chilling look at how fragile our sense of self can be, how identity, memory, even relationships can be deliberately shattered and rebuilt by outside forces.
It makes you question how much of what we believe about ourselves is really us, and how much is shaped by experience or even, manipulation.
Exactly. The real horror isn't just the physical danger, it's that psychological violation. Having your past, yourself, stolen and replaced.
But it's also, as we saw with Alex and Joanna, a really powerful story about resilience, about choosing your own path even when the world tries to force one on you.
Definitely. They reject the roles they were assigned. They choose to live their own lives, as they put it. No disguises, no running. They even choose to go back to Kyoto.
It's a reminder, I think, that even when things seem overwhelming, that choice to define your own truth, find real connection, it's still there. It's within reach.
And maybe here's a final thought for you to consider. In our world now, with so much information, so many narratives being pushed at us, how do we differentiate? How do we know what's our authentic self versus what might be, well, programmed or influenced by external forces?
How do you find your own key to midnight, so to speak? That way to unlock your genuine past, maybe, and build an authentic future, even when it feels like the world wants to write that script for you. Something to think about.